So to begin our afternoon program, we are delighted to welcome Chris Bush, Executive Director of the Institute of Business Innovation at UC Berkeley. With deep experience in innovation strategy and entrepreneurship, Director Bush leads the Berkeley Innovation Forum and works tirelessly to bridge cutting-edge research with real-world impact. His efforts help ensure that new technologies and ventures not only drive economic progress, but also serve society with purpose and compassion. Director Bush, welcome to Hong Kong and to the forum. Where are you? I didn't see you.
Well, thank you for the very warm welcome. Just as the panel before lunch, I also face a challenge. We've all now eaten that delicious meal, and I know I tend to get a little bit sleepy after that, so I won't hold it against anybody if you take a little nap if I get boring here. So, as stated in the introduction, I represent an institute at UC Berkeley that is focused on really bridging the gap between the research that's developed at the university and how that new technology, those new innovations get out into the marketplace so people can use them for good. And we are here today at a beautiful university campus. I think this is a common thing that a lot of universities that are really homes for research face. This question of how do we take what's being developed here and get it out into the world. And because I teach in the entrepreneurship program, I don't think it'll be a surprise that I think one of the big answers for that is around entrepreneurship and the startup culture that Silicon Valley is famous for and UC Berkeley plays a leading role in. So what I'm really going to talk briefly about today are these 4 points around this. First of all, again, as has been said many times already today, we are in a time of huge technology shifts. We have all these new impactful technologies, including, but not only AI, and I will talk a little bit more about that briefly. Second, as universities, we are in a challenging research environment. In the US, as you probably all know, we've seen research funding cut. It's really created a challenging environment there. But on the positive side, I think universities like UC Berkeley really can play this role in bringing technology that helps improve people's lives out to customers, out to users, and getting it there. And that's really going to be how I wrap up the conversation today. So we'll jump right into it with a quick story. So this woman on the left here, Jennifer Doudna, is one of our many Nobel Prize winners at UC Berkeley. She won the 2020 Nobel Prize for Chemistry for the development of CRISPR, which is a gene editing technology. And I actually learned in conversation earlier today, she in 2016 also earned the Tang Prize, so she's very well regarded there. Yeah, thank you. Now, one of the big benefits of winning the Nobel Prize at UC Berkeley is it's the only way of getting a free parking spot, as you see in the middle there. Everybody else, every faculty member, every student, every staff, they all have to pay for parking, but not if you win a Nobel Prize. So in some ways, I think the free parking spot is more valuable than the prize itself. Now, this woman on the right here is Reza Estrella. She was a doctoral student in Jennifer's labs for 5 years. And what she was really working on was applying CRISPR technology to developing very high-quality, pure oils. And all that time that she was working in the lab, she had this hypothesis, this guess, that the end users of these oils would be the cosmetics industry. They're an industry that is always looking for high-quality oils for lotions, for makeup. So that was her guess. And she came to one of our entrepreneurship programs at the business school with that guess. And as we always tell our students, that's a great hypothesis. Now go out and test it. And so she did. She went out, and in her first couple days in the program, she talked to 10 different cosmetic industry executives, some in marketing, some in operations, some chemists. And basically what she learned was very disheartening. None of them wanted her oils. They all basically said, we can't use this, it'll disrupt our supply chains. We don't see the need for it. But she did hear from one of them that this woman had a friend who was a fish farmer and said, I don't need your oils, but my friend who's a fish farmer is always looking for high-quality oils. And luckily, Rey-Sheng was open-minded enough to be able to accept that her original guess about what her product, her technology would be used for was wrong. It was not going to be used for the cosmetic industry. So she went out and she talked to the fish farmer who she had been introduced to, and sure enough, he said, yes, I am so desperate for these kind of oils that I will buy anything you have immediately. And she made her first sale right there on the spot. So again, I think this is a good example of how what we assume technology is going to be used for is often not what it actually is used for. So what's the moral of this story then? So, I mean, again, it's that our guesses about what our technology is going to be used for are often wrong, that we need to test those assumptions. But also, it's that our customers ultimately often do not care about our technology. Some of them may be excited early adopters. They may say, hey, that's kind of cool. But if it doesn't solve a problem that they have, they're not going to use it. It's going to go to waste. So really, one of the things that we teach in entrepreneurship at UC Berkeley and part of our innovation is this rule of test your assumptions and find that right fit for your product. Find the customers who you can actually solve a problem for. So our theme today is technology for good. And so I wanted to focus a little bit on why do we innovate? What's the reasons for, and how do we find the right matches for the technology that we create at universities or in other research labs? So I think a lot of it comes down to these four reasons. First of all, a lot of these technologies, a lot of these innovations help people make or save money. And I know when we're talking about technology for good, that sometimes may not be an especially inspiring message. But the fact is over the past 30 years, more than 1 billion people have been lifted out of poverty. And part of that has been economic innovation, new technologies and business models that have helped with that. Another reason that people will adopt a new technology is that it makes something easier or faster. That's another common thing that we see from our startups. The third, and this is especially true in healthcare, is that it can save lives or improve welfare and well-being. And finally, it can make people happy. We heard a little bit earlier about what it sometimes goes wrong, such as in the case of social media platforms. But I think the original goal of those social media platforms was to connect people and make them happier. And our hope often from new technologies is that they will achieve some of that goal. Now, I mentioned that, again, as we've heard, it's a really huge time for transformative technologies. And we've spoken a lot about AI already. So I just want to say it's not just AI. Or in other words, it's AI plus some of these other technologies that are coming online now. So for example, at UC Berkeley, we are one of the leading US institutions around quantum computing. And I think quantum computing's practical uses are probably still about 10 or 15 years away, but it's coming. We launched a startup program focused on quantum startups just this fall because we have enough demand at UC Berkeley for that. Robotics. AI is working with robots to make them smarter, make them more agile, make them more efficient. Robotics technology is going to change dramatically. We heard some examples in healthcare and elderly care this morning on that. Biotech, a CRISPR example was one of those, but biotech is going to rapidly change. And of course, energy, clean tech, things like battery technology, more efficient grid. These are all also areas that are going to really transform the way energy is delivered. So I started my career in the dot-com era and went through that period of seeing a big boom and bust in the business world based on a really new innovative technology. And of course, we all know the story that some of these companies have become huge, the household names of today, Google, Amazon, et cetera. But a lot of them in the year 2000 were, again, really found to have failed that test that I spoke about, and that nobody actually wanted them. They didn't actually solve any problems. nobody needed them. And those were the companies that eventually got weeded out, went bankrupt, and cost a lot of people's jobs, a lot of money, really had a negative impact. And I have to say, I suspect the same is going to be true with some of these emerging technologies, including AI. We're seeing in the US and really worldwide a lot of money put into them, a lot of effort, a lot of research, and I think they are going to be transformative, and a lot is going to come out of them, some good, probably some bad, unfortunately, and hopefully, thanks to the people in this room, we will focus more on developing the good. But regardless, not everything is going to work. There are going to be a lot of these innovations and businesses that come out of that are not going to succeed and are not going to meet that test of finding people who really need them and problems that they can really solve. I next want to switch gears a little bit and talk about how the innovation, the new technology that we've been talking about happen, at least in the university context. And the fact is that universities worldwide really still are the engines of basic research. Companies will generally not do the kind of basic research that often has 10 or 15-year time horizons, and government labs can play a part, but there are just not enough of them. So when it comes to a lot of the basic research that leads to these new technologies, it really falls on universities to do that core work. And the fact is that a lot of the money has been following, that creates this research, has been following the same model really since World War II. The US government has been the largest funder of new innovation, new research, basic research in the world for really 80 years. But as you'll see in this chart here, starting in about 2012, that changed. The US government started to decrease the amount that it was investing in research. And at the same time, the green line, corporate and other sources of research funding started to increase. And I think this has a lot of implications on how these technologies are going to develop. I don't think we know all the answers yet, but obviously, to some of the discussions that we had earlier about, for example, the race between the US and China on AI, if the US is actually reducing investment in that, then either it's going to come from US companies when it comes to the US side, or the US is not going to be keeping up in that race. So that's one possible implication of that. And again, to some of the points from the last panel, maybe that's a good thing. We will have to see. But regardless, the model is definitely changing. But whenever there's a change, there are also opportunities. I think this is a chance for businesses that want to do good, for NGOs, for more international collaboration on funding research. And so expanding the research pie rather than having a near monopoly on US government funding is ultimately, I think, a good thing for diversity and a good thing for the world. And already we've seen changes. In that same period since 2012, China, for example, has greatly increased its research investment and is now in academic journal publications and other areas in a number of categories regularly passing the US in terms of the amount of research that they are doing there. So shifting back to the question of how do we as a university actually encourage more innovation, how do we train people to innovate, and how do we get these technologies into the marketplace, the fact is that there are some really good methodology that, again, have been developed over the past 20 or so years around this. Lean Launchpad, which is what I teach, was developed at Berkeley and Stanford and really provide that methodology that I described in the story at the beginning of using a hypothesis and testing approach to getting new technologies and products out there that actually match people's needs. Open Innovation, which Henry Chesbrough, who is the faculty director for one of our centers, created, is, again, a great method for universities to collaborate with companies, to collaborate with NGOs, to collaborate with governments, and create new, more collaborative ways of doing research together. So I won't go through the whole list, but again, there's a number of these methodologies that we teach and that many universities around the world are teaching that can help inspire and drive people to more innovation, more creativity, and more rigorous approaches to make sure that the technology that they're developing are meeting somebody's needs out there in the world. So UC Berkeley, again, going back to the research, we're lucky enough to have some of the top researchers in the world, and also the use of some of these methodologies to drive it forward. And that is paid off by having one of the most vibrant startup cultures in the world. For those of you who are familiar with PitchBook, which is a database and publication around startups, we've been ranked #1 in the world for the past 3 years in venture-backed startups. And also, I'm proud to say, in female-founded startups. We have more women founders than any other university in the world as well. And again, I think that speaks well to the diversity and the hope of bringing these new technologies from a more diverse standpoint into the world there. I'm not going to talk too much about my own institute because it'll just sound like I'm bragging and patting myself on the back, and I know we're in a time crunch here, so I will just move on. But I do want to say a little bit about our approach again. I talked about some of the methodologies, but I think what's really core to them is that they involve our faculty, our partners, our students in ways of learning by doing, of really discovering these new innovations and technologies by working together and actually doing practical projects to meet some need. We also are really focused on translational research, getting the research in the university, out into the hands of users. And again, we don't believe that technology can do any good in the world, nor can any innovation, unless it's actually put out into the world. If it stays in the lab or in an academic journal, it's just not creating any impact. One other thing that we do at UC Berkeley that I'm proud to say that we've pioneered and have seen a number of other universities starting to adopt is treating research as a service. It's really part of our mission to be a service-focused university, and research as part of that. So just to give one quick example, for those of you who have used Uber or Airbnb, which are essentially resource-sharing platforms, they're allowing people to make money out of an unused resource, whether it's their car when they're not driving it for their own purpose, or an unused room in their apartment or house. This has been the goal, and one can say it's caused some harms as well, but this has been the goal of these kind of models. Berkeley has been doing the same thing around lab equipment. We, as a top university, have some pieces of equipment like electron microscopes, mass spectrometers, that most startups, most nonprofits just don't have access to. And they're not used all the time. Only some of the time are students or faculty using them for research. So if we can make them available for other people outside the university ecosystem to use them and bring new technologies and test those new technologies in those labs, that can provide a mutual benefit, and again, is an example of the kind of open innovation work that we've been speaking about. Yes, so there's that. And again, speaking to the methodologies that I mentioned earlier, we're also really lucky to have these faculty who are working in areas. I wanted to highlight one of these faculty members really quickly because, again, I think it relates to some of the discussion we were having earlier. Ulrike Malmendier, who's the second from the left there, is one of the leading behavioral economists in the world. And she also serves a role in the German government on their Council of Economic Advisors. And what she has really been driving for is an innovation policy approach to really help governments get past some of these bureaucratic barriers and regulatory barriers that can sometimes really stifle the ability to get technology that can save lives or do other good in the world into people's hands. And so we do see that policy piece as being another key element of that innovation ecosystem. One other thing, one dimension, is that hands-on approach of doing social innovation projects. Our faculty, our students often do come in with a social mission. They do want to change the world and make an impact. And so by creating projects, whether it's in smart cities or in rural villages or doing the kind of economic analysis that helps policymakers make decisions, that's really been another key part of our innovation ecosystem. And again, I think in this era when AI may replace a lot of jobs, having our students able to do these kind of hands-on projects, to see impact, to make social change, that's something that can help them be more creative and drive their careers forward, even if the job that they may be planned in accounting or law or whatever else might be going away. So I'll wrap up with a couple more examples. First, I wanted to talk about a larger corporate challenge that we've worked on. About a year ago, we started a partnership with the second largest glass manufacturer in the world, Şişecam. They're a Turkish company, but they have global operations. And the Şişecam, like the entire glass industry, faces a big challenge. They're a dirty industry. It uses a huge amount of energy to produce glass. It's all done at a very high temperature. There's a lot of carbon emissions. And this is not sustainable, right? In the era of climate change, they really need to transform and change the way that the glass production is done. And they all realize this. You know, the European Union, for example, has mandates for them to be carbon neutral by 2050. So they have a regulatory as well as a moral obligation to make some of these changes to their industry. But from a business standpoint, they face this challenge of, do we do that in an open manner? Do we collaborate with the rest of industry? Do we collaborate with academia? Or do we try to do it ourselves with the knowledge that if we succeed, we basically will be able to take all, because everybody is going to want to do business with the company that has achieved the lower or zero emissions way of manufacturing glass. And I'm grateful that thanks to their work with Professor Henry Chesbrough, they have chosen the open and more collaborative route. So rather than this zero-sum, winner-takes-all mentality, they are open to working with the rest of their industry, to working with academics, to really exploring ways of solving these challenges in that more collaborative manner. And I'll finish then with one more startup story, also an example of how this all comes together within our Berkeley ecosystem. So one of the other hidden strengths of Berkeley is that 60% of our startup founders are international students. Really, all this innovation is being driven by the global students who come into the campus. And an example of that is Hiroki, who was an MBA student at the business school in 2017. And he had a passion for using innovation to create the most sustainable greenhouse agriculture that he could create. So he spent years researching this and decided that he was really going to start on a single product, strawberries. And for the next 5 years, that's really all he did, was work on perfecting the lowest carbon way, the lowest energy, the lowest fertilizer way of producing some of the best berries in the world. And it paid off. He went through our entrepreneurship program. He received seed funding from one of the judges in one of the programs that we run, and has gone on over the past few years to become one of our unicorn startup companies. He's since also expanded beyond just strawberries to tomatoes, so now you can get both. But really, his success has been on this mission to both provide a high-quality product that people want in the strawberries and tomatoes with this very high-quality threshold, but also to do good by really lowering the carbon impact of the agriculture that he's making there. And that really, again, he found that value proposition and that fit with the high-end cuisine market in New York and has been very successful from that. Had news appearances and so forth all across the US. So just to sum up and bring this brief talk to an end, technology can only do good if it gets out of the lab, if it gets out of the classroom and into people's hands. And people are only going to adopt it if it really solves a problem that they have. It's not going to do any good, even if it's the coolest technology in the world, if it doesn't help us solve any problems. So that is, again, a really big core of what we do. But also, as a public university, having that public spirit, that public mission is also critically important. Our students come in year after year, and again, they want to make positive impact. They want to change the world with these new and emerging technologies. So that having that public good mission and having the university serve as a home for that, I think is really key. And finally, business models are also a big key to innovation and new technology. What I mean by a business model is exactly what I described before. There has to be a model for what people are going to use that technology for, what value proposition it has, can it be produced, do people want it? These are the core questions that people who are developing new technologies need to answer before they get that out into the marketplace. So with that, I will wrap up. I didn't get the gong yet, so I must be still on time. So that's a good sign. But oh, perfect. Okay. Because I do have 3 minutes left, any quick questions before I leave here? Oh, all right. Well, I think you'll get another opportunity later. All right. Thank you very much.
All right, so our next keynote speaker is Dr. Rey-Sheng, Deputy CEO of the Tzu Chi Charity Foundation. Dr. He's work bridges Buddhist humanistic thought with modern social challenges. His research in altruism and economic ethics encourages us to look at development not only through efficiency, but through the lens of compassion and shared responsibility. Dr. He, welcome.
Thank you. It's been an honor to present my idea on the technology for goodness in this platform. And I also appreciate so many great scholars, entrepreneurs share their insight and also their dream for the technology of goodness. So my story starts from the Pandora meet with Prometheus. Those are Greek, myth story, and the Pandora mean curiosity, and Prometheus mean love and compassion. I will elaborate and gradually. So, is that right? Yeah. I would like to back to my journey to UC Berkeley. Thank you, Chris, for the invitation. I do have the chance to attend the conference at NASA, the 2024, with the CEO Bo-Wen Yang. And in that occasion, I met so many good scholars. This is from the April 30 to May in 2024. I met with these three profound scientists. One is Charles Duke, who is Apollo 16 astronaut. He landed the moon and he got a very extraordinary experiences, both in scientific and also humanistic. And second is Greg Schmidt, who is the head director of the solar system research at the NASA. And thirdly is Ken. He is CEO to invest in the outer space exploration. So this is Charles Duke. Actually, he is very kind and very friendly. His age of 88 at the time, then now maybe nearly 90. And he recalled that the countdown when they launched the missile to the moon, and he think of that if the countdown stopped, that he would stay on the Earth. But actually, the countdown completed, which means he would be able to successfully land on the moon. And he described walking on the other world. The moon surface is like a dust. It's like a soil. Every step you walk, you deeply jam into the dust. So you have to very, very careful, very, very cautious on every step. Actually, he also bring one rock from the moon to the Earth. So that he described how he feel on the moon. But the story I want to tell is that I asked him that, do you believe landing on the moon has any relationship to human love? But the Duke pondered for a long time, and he did not really answer my question. But his beloved wife does. She said, only through God can people truly love. So at that moment, I feel that the scientific discovery may not relate to human love and compassion. And the story goes back to the Duke. When he completed this extraordinary experience of landing moon, he suffered on family crisis. His wife suffered in depression and nearly committed suicide. And he himself faced some kind of loss of his career and life. He did not know where he should go. He completely lost. He's very busy in the work, but without purpose. So is his wife. Eventually, they regain their confidence through church. So that story also inspired me. His scientific work do not relate to the value system. It not only causes trouble for human beings, but also cause trouble for individuals. And next, I talked to the Schmidt. He's a very, very kind person. And I asked him that what value and the principle that with development of a technology and our outer space exploration. He left and also replied to me kindly and said, hey, Professor, that's a good question, but I'm still thinking about it. I asked him twice, 2023 and 2024. Every year I met with him, I asked the same question. He replied to me, oh, Professor, it's a good question. I'm still thinking of it. So this is give me a very deep impression that for a fine scientist, he did not really explore the value rationality or purpose rationality, only instrumental rationality. So that's what I want to present in the morning and now, 3 rationality, instrumental, value, and also the purpose rationality. But we are too much emphasis on instrumental rationality, and that's caused our trouble. So this is my friend Craig, okay? And so in the outer space scientific exploration, we rarely discuss value rationality or purpose rationality. Everything focuses on instrumental rationality, which means how to do things better, faster, and more efficiently. But what goodness lies behind technology? That's the question. What value drives our scientific pursuit? This question remains outside the thinking framework of most scientists and entrepreneurs. So this omission isn't trivial. It shapes the future of human civilization and determine whether technology serve humanity or become its master. So in 2023, I also honored to attend a BIF in UC Berkeley. I met the CTO of Meta. I asked him, we are developing AI technology so rapidly and efficiently, but what's the real purpose? And he replied to me, say, hey, Dr. Rey, metaphysical question, we don't answer that. We are in industry. So we don't ask or we don't answer philosophical or metaphysical question. So you can tell that even the Meta, such a leading company in the world, they don't answer, they don't think of metaphysical or philosophical question, which is, I think, is quite dangerous for the development of technology. So the goodness behind technology, what is that? The value-driven our innovation. these considerations simply don't exist within the thinking paradigm of most scientists and business leaders. And when 2024 I attended BIF at the NASA, I also listened to the presentation of the entrepreneur Cam Gavarian, an Iranian-American businessman who focused on aerospace and new energy industry. And they want to speed up the outer space exploration, which means some star system, we got reached that system cost 360 years. Now they want to reduce to 6 months, can reach that another solar system. So you can speed how fast they want to looking for. 360 years, we can reach the star, the distance so far, but they want to complete it within 6 months. So, but still, instead of follow their wish, I asked them the questions. What is the purpose for that kind of speed up, this kind of outer space exploration? What is the good for human being? Well, he did not answer my question. But the other Korean entrepreneur, he asked the question. He said, we are just like a Columbus, explore the new world. We will find, some alien or some intelligent species in the cosmos, just like Columbus explored the new world. And I replied to them, for the Columbus discovered in the southern part of America, they already there for thousands of years. You are not discovering, you run into it. You encounter these people. And if you bring this model into the outer space exploration, which means when run into inferior species, are you going to annihilate them again? Because for the history of the colonization, some races being annihilated, which was true. Are you do it again? Or if you, in case you run into a superior species, which could be in danger or annihilate the whole human race on the planet. Have you ever to think about this question? And he said, no, we don't really think about this question. We just do it, and we're thinking over on the whole way of the exploration. So I think that's the very, very crucial question. We do not think of the purpose rationality. We do not think of the value rationality only for the instrumental rationality. So I don't think we're ready for that kind of outer space exploration. We are ready to answer the question, when you run into the different species in the cosmos, what should we do? And what will happen on the human race? I think that's also the crisis for the instrumental rationality, not only for the aerospace industry, but also for the global scientific industry, for the website development, for the biological development, or for the AI development. So 5 technology at the forum, we do have a quantum computing, with augmented reality, with advanced navigation, space exploration, and AI integration. Those are very advanced technology we are facing now today. So back to Aristotle, the great Greek philosopher told us, purpose and meaning must be considered together. Meaning cannot become the end itself. He make example like a war. what's the purpose of the war? Not killing, but peace. It's only we emphasize instrumental rationality, inventing better weapon, we kill more efficiently. We strengthen the tool but lost the sight of the goal and the value, which is create a profound crisis. Like a scalpel of the surgeon, Aristotle said, any tool must align with its purpose. A doctor's scalpel saves life, but surgery requires more than instrumental skill. It demands consideration of patient's feeling, the family, and all kinds of circumstances. Surgery isn't just instrumental rationality. It encompasses purpose rationality and value rationality. But the modern society has become extremely instrumental and setting aside morality, value, and purpose, which is still a profound crisis. So let's back to the Greek to great myth story, Prometheus. Who is Prometheus? When Jews stop the human to take a glimpse of God, human want to be a God, and that's really offend the Jews. The Jews punish human being to put human being in the dark and water, no fire, no light. But Prometheus, as a titan, he's sympathy human being, so he stored a fire to the human race. By that, Jews punished Prometheus. He put Prometheus on the mountain, and every day the eagle came to him and took his liver. But the liver regained again the next day. So day by day, Prometheus suffered by taking liver. That kind of harsh suffering. People ask him, do you regret to do that, to save human being? He said, no. Why? Because of love. So Prometheus fire represents the technology. Because fire is a technology, like AI today. In the ancient time, when human beings have fire, they can cook, they keep them warm, they can have action in the dark. It's a new technology at the time. So Prometheus blood means technology with compassion and love. But another story called Pandora. Who is Pandora? The Jews not only punished the brother Prometheus, but only his younger brother Epimetheus. Epimetheus is the younger brother of Prometheus. He supported his elder brother to steal the fire to the human race. So the Jews want to punish the brother. So he created a very beautiful lady called Pandora and invite the Epimetheus to get married with Pandora. At the wedding day, Jews asked all gods to have a gift to Pandora, and Zeus himself have a gift, very treasury gift, treasury box to Pandora. But Prometheus warned his brother Epimetheus, ask Pandora, do not open the box that Zeus is given to her. Do not open Zeus' box. But Pandora was so curious what Zeus give to me. So when Pandora opened the box, disease, war, misery, pandemic, all come out from the box. She was so panicked. Finally, she closed the door. She closed the box. Only hope inside. That means Pandora's mean that human developing technology due to curiosity, not because of love and compassion. So this is contrary dimension of technology. One is for love, one is for curiosity. Now we drive development of technology by curiosity instead of by love. So the story of Prometheus, fire as technology, but with love. Or the story of Pandora, which way we should go. Are we going to the Prometheus fire, or we go to Pandora's box? That's the choice we have to make. And this warning is from the ancient Greek. Back to modern time, Master Zheng Yan, the founder of Tzu Chi Foundation, I remember it's about 15 years ago, maybe 12 years, I don't recall the specific year, when the founder of Acer, Stan Shi, and also a lot of entrepreneurs in the technology industry gathered together and also meet with the Master Zheng Yan. The Master told them, can technology serve only good and not enable evil? Well, those tycoon of industry, they look at each other and reply to Master, Master, technology is neutral. We have no way to make it only serve for good. But the question remains, whether technology pursue as neutral or can be only serve for good. That's the entrepreneur reply. Technology must serve goodness. That's from the founder, Dharma Master Zheng Yan's ideal. For Buddhist philosophy, all phenomenon and all reality arise from mind. If our mind with goodness, all the creation by human being are toward goodness. If our mind is to stay neutral or stay with the curiosity, our creation will be either good and perhaps doing evil as well. So everything determined by our mind. So I believe that with the goodness spirit, that we'll be able to create a good technology for all human beings and also for the planet. Remember the social media lesson. We are so lucky and also so happy to have a social media to connect every one of us. But still, a lot of problems that created by social media, misinformation, slander anonymously, a lot of trouble caused by social media. But when we invented social media, we don't think of its disadvantage. We applaud in the development, but do not thinking of its bad consequences. So without thinking of these consequences, we are all suffer by new development while we enjoy that. So for the new challenges, AI still have a challenge ahead. We are so careless and negligent about internet social media. For the emerging AI problem could be more serious. And many people have talked about that this morning and also for the tomorrow. So that's back to what is the distinction of AI? Where AI encompasses human sensual being, human sentiment. We've have a chance to talk to Professor Peter Rey-Sheng in Taiwan. We're debating that AI will have a human sentiment, where AI can make judgment, where AI have a loving kindness, or AI have a hatred. We believe no, it's impossible. Only humans have sentiment. AI can only make decision based on rationality. Well, this is a test. You know, Michael Sandel from Harvard University, a very profound philosopher, he make a very good case that when trolley got out of control, and he facing two paths. One path is one people working on the railroad. Another railroad is 5 people working there. And the troller is in out of control. Whether he should turn his wheel toward one person, kill 1 people, or turn to the 5 people to kill those 5 people. The choice may be obvious. We turn our wheel to kill 1 instead of kill 5. But this is quite sort of, not opportunism, but is not based on the human conscience, but based on utilitarianism. Utilitarian told you sacrifice less and gain more. But think about this, the movie, the true story, Saving Private Ryan. 10 people to save 1 Private Ryan, and 2/3 of people pass away because they want to save 1 Private Ryan, because all his 3 brothers died in the war. So human being cannot be calculated by this number, cannot based on the utilitarianism, but should be more than that. So the story goes, AI have choices. My friend, he's a president of the university in Tzu Chi. He attended one conference. They have a test for AI choices. One is the AI test. The scenario is like a Michael Sandel scenario. They ask AI, if your train got out of control, will you hit 1 person or hit 5%? AI choose hit 1 person, which is quite rational. The second question is they put 100 people on the railroad, and the other side is Einstein on the railroad. AI choose crash 100 people instead of kill 1 Einstein. And the third test is quite astonishing. They put 1 AI in the other side and 1 human on the other side. AI choose crash human being, avoid AI. So he got identity. He got, sort of human conscience. So when AI choose to be human, not fatal AI, AI has begun developing self-awareness. Why? Because everything is created by the human mind. If human mind want to create a conscious AI, AI will have conscience. Not only for the Buddhist belief, but we believe that will be, actualized in due course. If a human being endlessly developing technology and no limitation, no any moral consideration, eventually AI might really kill people instead of kill AI. That's the simulation. So this is the God complex, Human capacity is immensely powerful. Everything is created by human. Eventually human will become like a God, creating robots with all human physical sensation and emotion, but smarter and more capable than us. Okay, I don't know you agree with that, but that's just the story. So the crisis of purpose rationality. If technology only emphasizes instrumental rationality, developing capability without limit, without emphasizing purpose and value rationality, we will make big trouble in due course. So let's jump into this. So these 3 must be balanced: instrumental rationality, how to do things efficiently and effectively. But we had to combine with the purpose rationality, which means what we are trying to achieve and why. And then value rationality, what matter, what's worth pursuing, what's good. we got to consider the three rationalities altogether to create technology of goodness. So, because Brian really asked me to share some story of the Da'ai technology company, so maybe 2 minutes. This is Da'ai technology company that run by Tzu Chi, owned by Tzu Chi. 5 entrepreneurs founded this company. Next year, donate to Tzu Chi. Because for the NGO in Taiwan, NGO cannot create company, but we can receive donation. So the company initiated by 5 entrepreneurs eventually returned to Tzu Chi. All the profit go to charity. This is the CEO, James Lee, which Brian met with him and really had a good compliment on him. He is an entrepreneur, but he really sort of find a good CEO in his own founding company, but work full-time as a volunteer, no pay. Like a CEO Yan, no pay, to devote to Da'ai technology company, and also his family. This all product that invented by Da'ai technology company. Recycle, reuse, reproduce. It starts from the 200,000 volunteers of recycling job in Tzu Chi worldwide. 200,000 volunteers working daily basis to recycle the practice bottle. And then remove all the different material, and then become the breaker, and then continue to send to the manufacturing, to crushing, to washing, to dehydrating, and then become a recycled PET, and then produce the yarn, and also eventually become the blanket. Millions of blankets being sent out to the worldwide for emergency relief. Reproduce. This is all products process, and then become the blanket everywhere in the world. And 1,000 different products. 1,000 different products that are being produced by Da'ai technology company and can be circulated in the market. Different kind of beautiful product. And also the tent, also reproduced by practice bottle to provide the shelter for the disaster earthquake in Hualien. This is covered by New York Times. 2024 earthquake in Hualien, very big one. And this CNN interview with me, talk about our emergency relief in the Hualien earthquake. This is an NHK reporter which highly compliment this convertible bed and also the tent that reproduced by practice bottle. So this is technology for goodness. That's only one example. But the main point I present to you is the 3 rationality: instrumental, value, and also purpose rationality. That will be the 3 elements, 3 pillars to create a human technology for goodness. Thank you all. Thank you.